How's it going, everyone? Welcome to Viral Virtue. It's your favorite apostates. I'm McKay.
I am Jordan.
And we are back at it again with a little short notice thing that we wanted to jump on because we found some rather information. It's rather information, but it's also interesting. We found some rather interesting information that is confirming a suspicion that we've long since had.
Boy, I love to be right.
God damn. It is so nice to be right all the time.
We're not right all the time, but we were right about this.
We were right about this. Jordan's mostly right about a lot of the things that she talks about. You should definitely listen to her on things. Yeah, this was one that we both thought for a really long time. Before we get into it, let's hear a word from our sponsor for today's episode, Aura.
Have you ever Googled yourself?
I try not to open that Pandora's box, but every now and then, yeah.
I had to Google myself, and the amount of information that is out there on the internet as a result of these data brokers is quite alarming.
If you've ever wondered why you're getting daily scam calls that are all sounding the same, or why your email inbox is absolutely flooded with spam, this is exactly why. There are companies that are called data brokers that sell your data, and they do this without your consent, and they make billions of dollars every single year selling it to whoever is willing to pay for it.
And while they're legally required to remove that information if you ask, the process is not easy, quite confusing, and takes a lot of time.
That's why we recommend today's sponsor, Aura, to our friends and family, because they take care of the hardest part, which is going through all of these data brokers and opting you out from their services.
And believe me, there's a lot of them. So I used Aura to get all of that information off the internet, because thinking about going and contacting each of these websites and asking them to pull the information down and then making sure that they did it. And I don't have enough time in my day for anything, let alone that. So Aura has done that work for me, which has been quite nice.
Aura is all-in-one digital security. You may already have a digital security tool, but not having Aura is like locking the front door and then leaving the back door wide open.
With Aura, you can get alerts if your personal info is found on the dark web, real-time fraud alerts for credit and banking, 24/7 monitoring, a secure VPN, antivirus, password manager, and more. And then US-based support available around the clock if something goes wrong.
Aura also includes an up to $5 million identity theft insurance protection in case one of those things goes wrong, and you have fraud experts at your fingertips around the clock. We hate the thought that people are scraping your data from the internet and selling it as if it were theirs in the first place, and that's why we choose Aura.
You can try Aura free for 14 days at aura.com/Jordan and McKay. And in those 2 weeks, you will discover where your data is being exposed and sold.
We aren't leaving ourselves vulnerable, and you shouldn't either. And thank you again to today's sponsor, Aura.
Just some context here. I came across this on TikTok. Some of you lovely folks tagged me in this.
Did you go off the tag, or did it come up on your For You?
So while I was responding to the comments, somebody tagged me. I got the notification that somebody tagged me while I was watching it. So you guys are on the money. I reposted it. It's on our TikTok now. But for context, we are ex-Mormons, and we have been talking about this theory that the Mormon Church pays influencers since 2021. Just for reference. Like 2021, the genesis of ex-Mormon TikTok back in the good old days.
Right.
It's all faded into obscurity mostly now. But when you look at
I don't know if I'll have time to comb through footage. If I can think of a clip, I will put one in here. But I mean,
we've talked about
we've
this
talked about this
extensively.
before.
It has been a long-held theory of ours based on questions that we got when we were first on TikTok, which is why are there so many Mormon influencers? And our theory always was whether directly or indirectly Mormons are getting paid via the church. And I mean, ironically, we even kind of get paid via the church in a weird way because sometimes they advertise on our videos. And like we have no you have no control on YouTube over who advertises on your videos. This is finally evidence that we have that this is actually happening, more so than just via AdSense, because we've always considered AdSense as happening. Like,
right.
But are they doing more than that? Like, are they directly reaching out to these influencers via collaborations and paying them directly to do marketing, if you will, for the church? And yes, every church does its own form of marketing, but after this video, we will talk about why I think this kind of marketing is a little bit more sinister than just your average, like, church trying to spread the word.
So this video comes from a creator on TikTok who's named Alitza. If you see this and I butchered your name, please put it in the comments so everybody can like it and get it to the top and show me how much of a dumbass I am, but I apologize in advance. She is the CEO of Ivory Paper Co. She does planners and everything.
They're very cute.
Go check it out. But today she posted this video that we wanted to share with you all now.
The Mormon Church emailed me and tried to pay me to be an influencer for them, which is absolutely wild. Let's talk about it. They essentially wanted like a brand deal, but for the Mormon Church, not just some random skincare company, which is truly wild to me to even be saying out loud. And yes, I know I grew up very Mormon. I was adopted through a Mormon adoption agency. I was sealed to my family in a Mormon temple. I have a lot of friends and family who are still active LDS. However, I left the Mormon Church as soon as I possibly could, and I haven't looked back, you guys. Like, I don't know why they reached out to me, because I feel like I've been very open about the fact that I am no longer LDS and I will never ever be Mormon. So yes, I was a little surprised when they emailed me. However, when I opened the brief that they sent my way, my jaw was on the actual ground, like speechless. I was expecting to see something pretty mild, like just have brunch with a sister missionary, or, you know, like go hang out with friends, or an invite to go to a Mormon church. No. They were balls to the walls in this brief. They literally wanted a video of me being super heartfelt and talking about how the Book of Mormon changed my life. They want me to share how the Book of Mormon brought peace and clarity and purpose to my life. The Book of Mormon. The one that Joseph Smith found in the ground, you know? I mean this so sincerely. The only thing the Book of Mormon brought in my life was an unhealthy fear of coffee, tattoos, and a weird relationship with showing my shoulders. Like, absolutely not. But it was also confusing because the brief made it very clear, like, do not say Mormon, do not say LDS. They just wanted me to focus on, like, being a Christian and being Christ-like and Jesus Christ. But then also the Book of Mormon brought me so much peace and purpose. Like, you guys are contradicting yourself. And I debated for a while if I was going to talk about this because I have no hard feelings towards the LDS church. Like, truly, like I said, my family's still very active. I have a lot of friends who are active. And while it's a no for me, like, I don't have any hard feelings towards, like, Mormons and the LDS people in general. You know, like, it's just not for me, cool for you. However, it just feels really deceitful to me to, like, have a whole bunch of influencers being like, the Book of Mormon brought me peace, but in fact, they're being paid thousands of dollars just to say that. Like, get your bag, but also just know, if you're seeing these videos from a whole bunch of influencers being like, I love the Book of Mormon, this is why.
I have a kitty in my lap now. But she shared some more information on some Instagram stories, but let's first kind of break down what we're hearing here first. So just a quick glance at her profile, you can tell this is a brand profile, and she is just talking about her company, her finances, her day-to-day life. It's not immediately obvious that she was ever Mormon because, like she said in there, she left as soon as she got the opportunity. There is really nothing that is Mormon about her, except for maybe you could construe the planners as kind of Mormon-y. I don't know. That's a bit of a stretch, right?
Well, I would just love to know, like, God, there's so much here, right? But like, I would love to know how they are reaching out to specific influencers. Like, what is the criteria that we're looking for? Because she doesn't have like a crazy amount of followers. She's not like, the Mormon mommy influencers who have like hundreds of thousands on every platform and get millions of views on every video. And so it's fascinating to me. One, like, what's their criteria for picking? Two, it's inaccurate. Now, I will say marketing agencies are not the best with matching like ads to creators, because we get religious people that will be like the other day, we got an email from somebody who is like representing somebody who's like on the faith team at the White House, and they wanted somebody from the White House faith team to come on our podcast. And I'm like, do you know who we are? Do you know what we do?
Or even better, today there was a brand, I'm not even going to name them, a brand that reached out to us that does DNA analysis, who's partnered with the fucking Mormon church, our biggest op. Hello. So a lot of times when these agencies are targeting people, they're just looking at analytics and everything like that. So obviously there's a little bit here, but that just adds to it, because that means that they're turning over their marketing to just who the fuck will accept the money and say, I love the Book of Mormon. The Book of Mormon changed my life. It brought me closer to Christ. It's another testament of Jesus Christ. And then, for 30 seconds, pay him $1,000 and then you're on your way, right?
Here's my thing. I'm all for church marketing, right? Like, churches want more people. They want to spread the word about their churches. Like, I'm thinking of like small local churches in your area, right? Like, this is not that. Usually when small churches, like I went to a non-denominational Christian church for a few years in high school, and usually when they're trying to spread the word via marketing, they're taking testimonies of like people within the church and asking them, not paying them, and being like, hey, we're going to do a social media thing. Do you want to come talk about it and like share your testimony? And they're not going to say, you have to say this, or you can't say this, or don't say that, or don't bring up the fact that we are Mormons. Or like, they're not giving them criteria. They're like giving authentic experience, right? This to me is like calculated and weird, because I don't understand why they couldn't just take members.
Right.
Like, why do you even need a marketing agency for this? Like, you could put out a call to the ward to be like, hey, come sit in front of a camera for 2 minutes and talk about your testimony. And the Mormons would fall all over it. It would work. But here's the thing. It's not about the average church member. They're not trying to appeal to the average individual. They're trying to appeal to influencers. They're trying to appeal to the influencer network to pull in the influencer people, because the influencer market on Mormonism has started to get away from them. Just like TikTok did a few years ago and is still doing now, the influencer sphere, where we used to have all these like really big mommy bloggers, a lot of them are canceled. A lot of them don't make content anymore. A lot of them have left the church. Like, they're losing the grip on Mormon influencers. And so instead of just like taking a member who might even be more relatable to the average person, we're going to pay an influencer to say some shit. And we're also going to tell them what they can't say. This isn't authentic. This is bullshit. Like, this person can believe all of those things, but this is a contrived environment.
Right.
This is not authentic in any way.
Well, and you look at historically what the Mormon marketing game plan has been for the last 150 years. It's sending missionaries out to go and preach the gospel, to knock doors, and to try to convince people about the most unmarketable product. Hey, do you want to give up coffee? Hey, do you want to give up tea?
Hey,
you
do
should
you
join
quit
our
drinking?
church. You should read this book. It'll change your life.
Do you want to give up tank tops?
Right. Historically, it has been solely on the backs of people who actually, or at least tell other people that they believe in this book. And that's like a real big part of what the missionary experience was, where if you didn't have a testimony of the Book of Mormon, a spiritual experience that confirmed the validity and veracity of the book itself, you were just supposed to lie. It's lying for the Lord.
Lying for the Lord, and it doesn't count.
President Boyd K. Packer said, "A testimony is to be found in the bearing of it. Somewhere in your quest for spiritual knowledge, there is that leap of faith, as the philosophers call it.
In bearing your testimony about the Book of Mormon, you will find it, apparently. Basically what I'm trying to get at is, in the past, this completely unmarketable product has done sort of well, and really for a worldwide church being even less than 0.5% of the entire population has not done incredibly well. But it seems like they are giving up on that being their sole tactic because it's not very effective. So now they're turning to, well, we have more money than God himself. Let's put it to good use, and maybe we can get some returns on that with people reading the Book of Mormon, contacting the missionaries, receiving the lessons, getting baptized, and starting to repay some of that money back by way of tithes.
Well, and here's the thing is they actually get a discount on whatever the person in this video feels that she was being highly underpaid. And she said in an Instagram story that she went back and forth with this agency 10 times about the actual rate that they would pay for something like this. I think for her it was more like curiosity at this point versus actually wanting to do it since she's not Mormon anymore. Like, if you think about it, any income that you receive as a Mormon person is tithed on. So like the Mormons can tell this marketing agency like, hey, charge them this much, and like 10% of that I'm going to get back for free. So I'm not even spending that much. I'm getting a discount because they're going to pay it to me.
Well, in previous conversations that we've had about this, and I'm not going to say that there's no Mormon presence on the internet. There are like
there's plenty
Mormon
of annoying ones,
exclusive influencers or whatever who are talking about Mormonism and the Book of Mormon and what have you. And like in this circumstance, financially, I would consider them the suckers because they're the ones who are out there and they're doing the church's work for them.
They ain't gonna pay
they're
them.
Not asking to be paid or anything because they're just doing it for the love of the game, right? They don't think they're suckers. That's just my assessment because I would want to get paid if I'm advertising for a mega corporation like that.
But see, they don't view it that way.
Right. And in the past, they've had these influencers like you're talking about where they don't necessarily need to give money to Ruby Frankie because she loves her Mormon faith, her whole Mormon family. Her husband worked for BYU. Obviously, that was cut really short when she got sent to prison for committing heinous crimes. But like, it's those circumstances where there's people with crazy amount of notoriety who are living the Mormon gospel, who are talking about their faith in a casual way to normalize that idea. And I feel like that, like Jordan said, a lot of those people who have that notoriety don't really talk about it.
Well, and they don't talk about it for a reason.
Yeah.
Right?
And then when you make a change, you leave that religion and you didn't make it a part of your content, it's so much easier to not have to adapt at anything. So when that happens, they're losing the grip online. They got to turn to the monetary stuff.
But it's deceptive by nature, right? Because it's like a testimonial for a product. And like, sure, these people might have buy-in, but like this girl isn't even Mormon. They're clearly not verifying it. So like, who's to say like if they would have done that for the and they were like, let's follow through with it. I'm going to get paid for it, even though I'm not Mormon. I'm going to sell you the lie, get that back. Like, there's nobody stopping them from doing that. And what's the difference between that and like a false testimonial?
Well, and they absolutely should not be able to verify if she's Mormon or not. I feel like if they are allowing those kinds of records, because she said this is a marketing agency, which the Mormon Church has marketing agencies that are not named anything like there's Bonneville Media. Bonneville Media owns a whole bunch of shit. They own radio stations here in Colorado and all kinds of stuff out in Utah and everything like that. And they have subsidiaries that do social media marketing and things like that. So it could be a subsidiary of a company that's owned by the Mormon Church. So I would really hope that they don't have access to like membership records or things of that nature, because I feel like that information is sensitive and shouldn't be shared anyway.
But this reeks of desperation to me.
Absolutely.
Like, we're so desperate, we're going to hire an outside marketing agency that's not one that's in-house, because Bonneville is in-house, technically. So, like, I know it's separate, but it's Mormonism. Like, don't
Right.
fucking play with me on this. So, like, we're reaching out to a global, according to this email, a global digital marketing agency, and we're not verifying any of that. And that seems really risky to me. Like, that seems really risky. And clearly, evidently, they're going to pay for it now. Like, they fucking stepped in it now because
Right.
people like me and
We're gonna be
McKay
like-
are going to fucking run with this. Because I'm
Right.
like, this is proof and evidence of what we have been saying since 2021, that it's not just like very motivated people posting on Instagram. And sure, you have your Rubies and your Jordan Pages who will do this shit for free, but it's not authentic. And let's talk about like what they put in this brief. Also, lowballing people. Like, she feels like the money that she was offered for this was really low. Like, typical Mormonism.
Right.
To not be paying people what they're worth. And I mean, lots of marketing agencies lowball people to see how low you'll accept. But it's really great when you come from a church that prioritizes like the divine nature and individual worth of each person and how important and valuable that is. But when it comes to talking about the church, I'm going to pay you as little as possible to get you to talk for 30 seconds. Okay, so if you're not familiar, if you're working with a company, if you get a sponsor for a video, they send you a creative brief that essentially gives you structure for what you're expected to say in the video. Like, they give you expectations, how long, here's what you say, here's what you don't. Like, it's fairly structured. So the fact that they sent a brief isn't anything out of the ordinary. But let's look at what they sent her, because I'm very intrigued by this. So we've got a lovely picture of Jesus on top, right? Classic. This isn't cute Mormon Jesus. This is like Old Testament-y Mormon Jesus, in my opinion.
This is exactly the kind of, no, I'm talking on the whole, like the whole, that is directly from church media.
Oh, yeah. But I'm just saying, this is the non-yassified Jesus.
No,
we
yeah,
talk
this
about
is-
the yassified one all the time.
This is serious. This is not cutesy.
This
This
is not cutesy.
business. And the whole thing is just, it reeks of directly from church. Like, all their media and press releases and shit look like this.
So let's read the description, shall we? Members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints make up a diverse community of people around the world. Huh?
Depending on who you ask.
Huh? Okay. With a shared faith in God and his son, Jesus Christ. So you've already got Jesus Christ twice in the first sentence. I mean, the name doesn't really count, but at least once in the first sentence. And more than 30,000 local congregations around the world, people connect with others in their community to worship, pray, sing hymns, and study the gospel of Jesus Christ. Deepen your relationship with God and learn his plan for you as you meet with missionaries from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Jesus Christ. I added that in. But, like, why do we have to say it so many times?
We'll get to why.
I mean, obviously that's part of it, right? But God, it's annoying. We'll pray, read, and discuss the teachings of Jesus Christ with you. The gospel of Jesus Christ can bless your life, grow closer to God, and meet with missionaries. Jesus Christ! Already, we're setting the stage for a transition that McKay and I have also been talking about since 2021, which is the, like, Christianization, if you will, of Mormonism. Like, the effort to make it, like, your local, cute, non-denominational, all are welcome.
Right.
We have a cute little community, which is much more my vibe, by the way. I have no problem with any of that. But, like, that's what they're aiming for, which, again, is deceptive, because that's not what you're signing up for. You're not going to get, like, a cute little lax community. You're going to get rules and 10% of your income for the rest of your life and all the other things that we've talked about on this channel.
Well, and ultimately, like I've discussed a couple videos back, this is part of a larger shift of quote unquote missionary work, where rather than telling people exactly who they are up front, we are the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. We are known as Mormons, like I did while I was on my mission. It is all about subverting the narrative that the Christians have about the heretical, in their eyes, gospel of Joseph Smith. Because when you go on to, like I said, the sucker Instagram influencers and people, when you go into their comments section, it's almost all people saying, this is heresy, this is blasphemous, this is not what Jesus is, you aren't Christians, all those kinds of things. So they've got themselves in a pickle, and this is part of the answer to that in order to add validity to the faith. and to continue to attempt to grow
Because
in a world where it's the market is pretty much saturated, right?
Establishing credibility by saying Jesus Christ 1,000 times is
Right.
really going to cement that.
So
for
they
you.
want you to know they are actually Christians
Jesus
because
Christ.
the creative brief says Jesus
Jesus
1,000 times in the first paragraph.
But like it gives, in 30 Rock, that scene where he's in the hallway with all the high school kids and he's like, how do you do, fellow kids? Like, that's what this is giving. Like, Mormons are desperately trying to fit in with the Christians because Christians are generally well accepted by society, and Mormons are not, and they desperately long for that like commonality, community,
Right.
acceptance, even, you could say. And they're not going to get that. It's not, because as soon as you pull back the curtain, because I think there's forces at play here, because how much can you water down Mormonism before it's not Mormonism anymore, especially when they're not willing to abandon any of the tenets that point you back to Mormonism. Like, they're not willing to abandon the temple, they're not willing to abandon garments, they're not willing to abandon missionaries, they're not willing to abandon missionaries wearing the name tags, they're not willing to abandon the name, they're not willing to abandon anything that would water it down. So this is giving just false advertising. It's like MLM status stuff where like what you see is not what you get. So it's like, and we see stories like in ex-Mormon Reddit all the time of people who convert and then they're like, what I was told versus what it is are two completely different things, and I'm out. I don't want anything to do with this. So it's like, how can we get people in the door? Which, if you understand anything about Mormonism, numbers are a really big deal. Numbers and money. So if we get more baptisms, if we get more people baptized into Mormonism, then it seems like the religion is growing. It keeps the members in. It keeps people wanting to pay money because the church appears to be growing, when I don't think that it is, and I think they lie about things. That's just my opinion. But like, that all of this centers on, all of this is deceptive in order to get you in the door, which is fucking shitty. Like, it's so bad. It's so bad. And why is your church so awful that you have to essentially bend the truth in marketing to get people in the door? Like, does that not make us look inward for a minute? Because most churches advertise fairly easily, and people are like, I like that. I like that vibe. That fits me. Or I like that community, or I like how kind they are. Like, it's fairly easy to get people in the door, and Mormonism sucks so bad that they have to lie to get you in the door.
It's just pitiful, right?
It's boring.
It's pitiful that they prided themselves. Prided? Is that a word? Yeah. They've prided themselves so long on, like, when I was a kid, they would always say, well, if the church weren't true, the 19-year-old missionaries would have ruined it by now.
The 19-year-olds are also not the brightest.
They've completely given up on even that. Like, to the point where they're like, we need to pay people to just tell people that the Book of Mormon changed their life, because, like, not even the missionaries can do it. The people who, like, supposedly have read and supposedly, or at least proclaim to, in order to, pass on with social norms and things like that, have read the book and say that it changed their life. Now we can't even, like, that's not enough anymore.
But the logic of it, like, even if you look at the missionary part of it, like, okay, I say the missionaries aren't bright because they've been fucking brainwashed for 19 years. And so, of course, they're not going to go in and ruin it because they don't know any different. So even that logic to me is not logic. It doesn't hold any water, because it's like teaching them a language their whole life. And then they're like, well, if they didn't learn the language, then, they would ruin it. And it's like, it's the only thing they speak. It's the only thing they know. Like, how is that even possible? So, like, again, another just stupid
implication
thing that gets told in Mormonism that we all carry with us. That's like, oh yeah, that would be really funny because the 19-year-olds would ruin it if it weren't true. And it's like, no, the 19-year-olds have been like baptized by fire into this cult, if you will. And of course they're not going to ruin it.
Right.
Hello?
Because they're not baptizing people who are going to stick around. The people who stick around are born into it, because you get to form that worldview from birth on.
Okay, let's talk about this next part here. So under the description that we just read, there are 3 key principles. So we've got Jesus here, and he says we offer the full gospel of Jesus Christ and its blessings. We We got some people singing in church, demonstrating some diversity. The majority of the wards that you're probably going to go to, depending on where you are predominantly white, but you wouldn't assume that from these photos. Come to Jesus Christ, come to know Jesus Christ better and heal your life. What is healing your life? Heal your life. Does that sound off to anybody else? Heal your
If
life.
you want to do any healing, you won't do it there. Go to a fucking therapist.
It just, the phrase sounds weird.
I can attest that true healing will not come from there. Go to therapy.
So far, two of the three principles have Jesus Christ in it. Remember, in case we're Jesus Christ double at this point. And then the last one is join a Christ-centered, 3 for 3, Christ-centered community and find friends that share the same values. So those are our key principles. I'm not sure how that relates to anything that they're doing in this brief, but they're on there, so I wanted to tell them to you.
They want you to know that they are morally upstanding Christian organization, corporation, something Asian.
Something like that. Here's what the concepts are. So in this video, this creator says that they told her that they needed 3 different videos, which in my opinion is a lot to ask of a creator, especially if you're not going to pay them. But they also said to keep it under 30 seconds, or keep it at max 30 seconds. Keeping in mind, I'm sure people's attention spans, nobody's going to sit and watch this for 5 minutes.
And also, a video needs to be a minute long in order to monetize on TikTok.
That's interesting,
Just an
isn't it?
interesting little crossover there, but whatever.
So let's look at the creative concepts here. Number 1, are you ready? Showcase the vibrant community of the church. I can't.
Which is crazy because when you talk about the vibrant community of the church, everybody is like, yeah, Utah Mormon culture is fucking toxic.
But
I think maybe we want to stay away from that one.
But also, it's boring. Like, people asked us, like, why don't they film Secret Lives of Mormon Wives? Like, why don't they do more church stuff? Like, 1, they don't allow you to film in the chapel, so, like, that's that. But
yeah.
Number 2, it's fucking boring. I can't dress that up. I can't make that more enticing. Like, you're sitting into a chapel listening to a man and maybe
seconds.
A woman occasionally lecture you for 2 hours.
30 seconds is already too long for talking about that.
Like, girl, come on.
You're not keeping anybody for the full 30.
Okay, showcase the vibrant community of the church, highlighting how you found a God-sent sister in Christ and discovered a deep, unshakable sense of belonging. This is like word salad. Did they put this in ChatGPT? Create a heartfelt montage of moments, people coming together to pray, share meals, hug, and lift each other up. Literally, I want you to take the video and lift each other up. Okay. Hugging is sending me. I want you in this video, like, that's not the kind of content we make, so I don't think anybody would ask us to do that anyway. But the thought of somebody coming to us and being like, make sure you hug in the video. Like, what? And praying.
What are you, a pervert?
It's so sincere to pray in front of your camera, isn't it?
Right.
The Christian influencers are going to come for me on that one. Illustrating the powerful bonds formed within the church. Share your personal story of the meaningful relationships you've built and invite viewers to imagine experiencing that same connection. If they're seeking a place to belong, let them know there's a welcoming community waiting for them. Unless you're gay, trans, black, an immigrant.
No, if you're black, that one expired in 1978. It's good now.
Okay.
It's all good.
God changed his mind about
that.
Do
anything. They didn't say anything like sorry or anything, but
God changed his mind.
It's all okay now, apparently.
Mormon God, what are you going to do? Conclude with a warm, heartfelt invitation to meet with missionaries and explore how faith can provide a deeper sense of connection, support, and a home. So let me summarize this in like 2 sentences. You're lonely. Come to our church and you won't be lonely anymore.
Which, honestly, when you boil it down to that, it's not a bad strategy. Because
it's not. It's really not.
Because of the way, like, individualism in this country is going fucking crazy right now.
We long for community.
So for them to pick that kind of a topic is kind of smart.
That's why I wanted to bring it up, is I don't think when you take the stupid Mormon Jesus word salad out of it and you boil it down to that, I mean, this is something that lots of people tap into when it comes to like church
Right.
marketing. I feel like you want
Well,
a
and-
community within your church. That's what you're looking for.
Exactly. The problem with that is they are portraying it as just some laid back, let's just have friends kind of situation.
Let's just around.
This
No.
is a high demand religion. You can't, it's not something that is not going to ask a lot of you. They are going to ask a lot of you.
Well, it's like I mean, it's going to be community, but there's not going to be a lot of choice in the matter.
Right.
It's like forced community. And do people really want forced community? Like, I know when people leave the Mormon church, they always say it's the community. And that's why it's there, right? It's to keep people in. And so I get it. So on its face, I don't think this first one is a bad strategy. I think the stupid shit that they're doing to try to get that message across is dumb as hell. I think being like, hug and share a meal and pray. And like, I
It's
think
so
you would get
corny.
much further if you were like, you know, just honest about it, right? Like, I'm feeling really isolated. I've been wanting to connect with people my age or people who share the same values as me. And then I stumbled upon this church. You know what I mean? Like I feel like they get in their own way sometimes. Like it's like the narcissism of Mormonism coming in at play because they have to see like, these are our values. We pray before every meal. We pray every night. We hug each other. We, like, what the fuck is that? Like, what is that? Number 2.
And these are supposed to be different videos, right?
Yes, these are 3
Okay.
separate videos. That was just
That
the
was
first
a
one.
lot of content for 30 seconds.
one,
That's
yeah.
a lot of work for just one.
And I'm sure they're annoying as hell approving these videos.
I bet they are.
Okay, number 2, start with a relatable moment. Wow, so original. Feeling lost, struggling, or stuck in a tough spot? Then show the powerful transformation that happens when someone grows closer to God. See, they almost had my idea, and then they lost it. Use a before and after approach, illustrating how faith can improve mental, emotional, and physical well-being. Share quick personal clips of how faith has changed your life, whether in your relationships, mindset, or overall happiness. Highlight the message. The glow through Jesus Christ is real. Not the Mormon
The Mormon
glow!
glaze! They're acknowledging the official church materials are acknowledging the Mormon glaze. Let's go.
Oh my God.
This is also something that gets weaponized against former members like us, where we've lost the
Yeah,
the
they said
light in
we're-
their eyes.
What
or
was
their
it? That one guy said we're
countenances
fat and
darkened.
ugly now, or
Oh,
whatever.
it's true, but
Yes, I'm so evil now. The light has disappeared from
our
my eyes.
countenance has fallen, or
Yeah.
whatever.
I need Botox. I mean, what are you gonna do?
I'm sorry, I can't always have it on. I have a 4-year-old. He's almost 5. He's draining.
The glow through Jesus Christ is real, and those around you can see the difference in how you radiate with his light. Invite them to meet with missionaries and discover how faith can bring real transformation to their lives. Like they're trying to, like if I was the Mormon church, I'd be hopping, like I would pay somebody who's good at marketing, and not me trying to do the Mormon church's job, but I'm trying like
Great. They're gonna make money. They're gonna write that down. Write that down.
they're going to steal this now. So I would take somebody who's well-versed in TikTok, a space that's typically dominated by a lot of very popular ex-Mormons. I consider us like retired ex-Mormon TikTokers at this point.
Right.
But there are a lot of people on there who still create a lot of traction. I think that's great. And so that being said, can we pay somebody to like analyze TikTok trends, because they're constantly changing, right? And you have to have somebody up on them when they're like at their peak, not when they're on their way out. And so can
or
we
even when they're like early adoption stage, right?
right, or when businesses start doing it, because then nobody wants to do it anymore.
The jig is up at that point.
So having somebody who looks at trends and then goes, how can we incorporate Mormon into this? Like they probably have Mormons who are naturally doing that, but it's not the popular thing to post, especially since there are a lot of ex-Mormons on TikTok. And so I think that would be a lovely strategy. Like, they're like adapt the trend to Mormonism, and that's going to get you on people's feeds. I think that's more effective than this shit. You think somebody on TikTok is going to see you say, meet with the mission, scroll.
Yeah. Once I get a lot of Mormon advertising. As soon as I see those sisters pop up.
Okay, this was number 2. I feel like number 2 was not as strong as number 1.
No, that's a L.
I think that's a L. Number 1, I can kind of see the merit on, and like, I don't like it, but I can understand why they're trying. This is different. Okay, ready for number 3? Number 2 was number 2.
Number 2 was the shiny, happy people approach.
Okay, number 3 is share a passionate message. This is in quotations, stop the nonsense. Faith is where it starts. Huh?
This sounds like a 1920s.
Stop the nonsense, kids.
Like,
huh? What? For who? We're talking about social media, not to your 80-year-old neighbor. No shade to the 80-year-old neighbor, but like they're not necessarily on TikTok. What the fuck? Stop the nonsense.
We need someone to go into their boardroom and teach like even a little bit of modern language and
who approved
jargon.
that? That's the only example, by the way. This is the only one.
Can we get a better, more current? Current could be the last 25 years at this point. I'm begging you.
Hello? Okay, share how life felt overwhelming, struggling with stress or uncertainty. There's a lot of M-dashes in here. I'm an M-dash user, tried and true, and I'm always afraid that people are going to think that I'm using ChatGPT, which I refuse to do. But there's a lot of M-dashes in here, which is often an indicator of using ChatGPT, so now I'm further suspicious. Struggling with stress or uncertainty and how turning to God for real answers changed everything. Talk about how praying, asking God for help, and reading the Book of Mormon brought peace, purpose, and clarity. Share a brief testimony of how Jesus Christ transformed your life, giving you purpose and hope. With an empowering, authentic tone, encourage viewers to ask God, pray for anything. Anything now, huh? That's a little risky, don't you think?
What if I start
anything
in this world?
What if I pray for $1 million and then Mormon Jesus doesn't give it to me? I'm not really going to want to join your religion then.
Jordan, you also have to have faith to not get $1 million.
I guess. What do I know?
Just saying.
And turn to the Book of Mormon for guidance. Highlight how there's nothing to lose. I beg to differ. I beg to differ on that one. Nothing to lose, huh? Nothing to lose. Just your time, 10% of your income for the rest of your life, your autonomy, your Sundays, your Wednesday
underwear.
Evenings, your underwear, your shoulders, your tank tops, guilt-free sex in or out of a relationship, loss of relationships with people who think that you're crazy for getting baptized and becoming Mormon. You know, I'm a therapist. I could sit here and talk about this for a long time. The Book of Mormon is transformative. Invite the viewers to meet with missionaries and see how faith can change their lives too. Again, we're back to the missionaries.
We're back to lying too. It's not.
Do we ever not?
Quite literally is.
Do they ever not?
So boring, like unimaginative, weird. It's not really even unique. Like most of the unique shit that comes from Mormonism is in Doctrine and Covenants and other things of that nature. Joseph Smith translations of the Bible.
What's that?
There's really not anything that's like so unique about the Book of Mormon or interesting for that fact.
What's that phrase? It's like the good things about Mormonism
Aren't unique.
The
unique things aren't good.
The unique things aren't good. There you go. That
Something.
Sums it up pretty well. But also,
it's a little reductive, but does the trick.
Looking at these, like going back to this idea of like the Christianity-esqueness of Mormonism that's trying to happen here, is it surprises me that 2 out of 3 of these, I think, don't reference the Book of Mormon.
Yeah, I think only the third one did.
Only the third one does. So these other 2 options are very vague and more like pray,
come to church,
connect with
us.
others, Jesus Christ for the 80th time. Like there's nothing there that would necessarily like, see, this is the deceptiveness. There's nothing there that would necessarily point you towards this is Mormonism, right?
Well, and I get tons of feed videos and sponsored videos from accounts where they are owned by the Mormon Church. They have a Mormon slant. They have like websites that are for like finding a church, but it's owned by the Mormon Church. It's to direct you to the Mormon Church. But you look at the web, like the Facebook page or the whoever's posting Instagram page or whatever, there is absolutely nothing, unless you know what to look for, that says that it is owned or run by the Mormon Church or a subsidiary thereof of a company that they own. And a lot of times it's content that's completely unrelated to Mormon specific topics, and it's just faith topics at hand with the hope that you will eventually be led to their site that will lead you to the Mormon Church. And I'm talking like pages that have millions of followers or likes that are so unsuspecting that most of you may have already seen them and you would have not even known
immediately. Okay, let's talk about the do's and don'ts, because I found some of these interesting. So the second page of the brief contains 2 little boxes with do's and don'ts. So let's start with the do's. This is all doo-doo, but let's start there. Do mention Church of Jesus Christ within 10 seconds.
Not the full name of the church, which is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
And you're supposed to say the full name, and the church will yell at you if you don't.
Can you imagine?
But in this case, we don't care.
Yeah.
Hello?
It's so funny because 2018, Russell M. Nelson becomes the current prophet president of the church, and he has the biggest revelation of his time, which is that we shouldn't use the nickname Mormon, because when you use nicknames to describe his church, it offends him. It's a victory for Satan. But if you leave off a couple of the words, I guess it's okay. It doesn't offend him when you don't use the full correct name of the church. You just have to know
No, I
that
think
it's
it does.
the Church of Jesus Christ.
I think this is such bullshit. I think
No,
this
it's
is
absolutely a
such
dumb
bullshit
mistake.
because I literally, one of the super annoying Mormon content creators that comes across my Instagram occasionally was talking about how it's important to use the full name of the church every time in every conversation. And I'm like, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Like, it is not short. So, like, to go into this is deceptive, whether consciously or unconsciously. Like, this is deceptive because we're, like, Latter-day Saints pretty much clues most people in. Like, the Latter-day Saints or the Mormons, most people make that connection. But if you just hear Church of Jesus Christ offhand, nothing else, you're not making assumptions. So, like, with this, they're getting people to not scroll immediately.
Yeah.
Again, Christianization, if you will, making up words, of Mormonism. Creating a different church to get you in the door before you realize that you've been taken by the Mormons. Sounds like a kidnap scenario, but, like, you know what I mean? Like, before you're sitting in the pews and you're like, interesting.
Ultimately, it's mischaracterization.
Yes.
Which,
intentionally or not,
is a way of saying lying.
Lying.
It's lying.
Lying.
Telling half-truths? That's lying.
And I hate this shit. Like, I think this shit is so stupid because I have more respect for Mormonism when they can stand 10 toes down on their marketing tactics. Like, taking out a page in the Book of Mormon musical program, that I can have some respect for.
Absolutely.
Like, I think it's funny. Like, you're playing into it. You're like, oh, so you liked the play? Come read the book. Like, nobody's actually going to fucking do that.
This is what we've come to. Well, and you look at the media of yesteryear, right?
Meet the Mormons.
Not even starting there, starting with the Mormon ads. They were standing 10 toes down with the Mormon ads.
I had a Mormon profile.
Like, completely, like, back in the 70s and the 80s, they were going hard with the Mormon ads. And like on TV and stuff like that. And then like the I'm a Mormon campaign where they picked like a lot of seemingly everyday people, and then the drummer from Neon Trees, and I don't know if Dan
Alex
Reynolds,
Boyer,
and people like that, to say show people, hey, we're Mormons, but we're normal people. And then the continuation of that with Meet the Mormons, the movie, where they did little biographical bits on people around the world and things of that nature. And now we're just paying random people to say, oh, I love the Book of Mormon, it's transformed my life.
And not even using it half the time. Like, Thomas Monson, the prophet that we grew up with, would be rolling in his grave if he knew Rusty did this. This is like a little...
Absolutely.
This is a little, like, vendetta between the two of them.
Between him and Gordon Hinckley, because this is something that Russell has been pushing for since the 90s, and every prophet or the 2 prophets since then shot him down. They literally were like, no, we're going to keep doing Mormon.
Because it's ass idea.
So,
it's ass.
Yeah. And it's not working. Like, this is what they've been reduced to. Just paying people to misrepresent what the church is.
It's throwing money and hoping something sticks.
It's pitiful, honestly.
It's embarrassing. Like, it's embarrassing. You have billions of dollars. And
hundreds of billions
of dollars. and you can't figure out while your church membership is in decline. You can't figure it out. You're desperate to throw, like, it's like, I don't even know how to describe it.
It's giving
like,
desperate. It's desperation.
It's desperation, but it's a refusal on some level to look at what the actual core issue is. Like, the core issue is the fundamental doctrines that exist within the institution. And because they're unwilling to change the fundamental doctrines, you know, like forbidding black people and black women from the church was a fundamental doctrine at some point that we so magically decided to change at one point when Jesus changed his mind in the 1980s. But like 70s. That's why we're at this point, is like they're trying, like, it's like the house is on fire and Rusty is mowing the grass. Like, the actual problem is that the house is burning down, but Rusty's over here like clipping the grass with scissors. Like, the issue with why your church membership is decreasing is because of your policies, your positions, and your doctrine. Homophobia, transphobia, the way you treat people, the way you treat immigrants, like, all of these things are the problem. So this is why the social media campaigns will continually not work. Because people like us and other people who have gotten the ex-Mormon forefathers, if you will, the John DeLynns, the Mike Nortons, like the Kate Kellys of the world, none of it is going away. And you can't counter it anymore. It's not working. Like, this should be fundamental evidence that you're trying to not even throw water on the flames, and then you're all sitting around the table going, nobody's joining anymore except in like Africa. Oh my god.
And I mean, part of that whole thing, like, the biggest population centers for the church are obviously in the American West, because the church is an American church. So now that we are at the point where, because of the internet, everybody knows who the Mormons are, and everybody's got an idea of what they believe, whether it's erroneous or not. People are turned off by the Mormon church. In other places, maybe it's not so well known because there's not such a saturation of membership in this place or the other place.
True.
So they're still able to just send missionaries, and that's enough. They don't have to worry about it too much. But now they're having to take this desperate approach where they're misrepresenting what church membership looks like, where they're misrepresenting who they are as a church, and trying to obfuscate the past history of the church in order to say, hey, what you thought about the church may be true, but have you thought that maybe you should still give us a chance?
Or maybe you should still give us your money.
Yeah.
Do always use his full name, Jesus Christ. I know a Mormon didn't make this because they didn't capitalize his. Do use royalty-free music only. Do dress modestly. Never in my life have I gotten a brief from any brand that has told me what I have to wear when I'm doing the video.
Right?
Never in my life.
Not even the underwear company said that we have to wear the underwear in the ad, which I appreciated because
shout
I'm
out
not
me
comfortable
undies.
with that, but you know.
I did wear mine, but that is so crazy. Like, girlies, put the shoulders away, put the guns away, because people will see.
You could cause sin.
Like, you can't be talking about Christ and have the cleave. It ain't gonna work.
I think they should reconsider.
They're gonna be looking at the boobs instead of thinking about Jesus, and heaven forbid. Heaven forbid.
Heaven forbid.
Okay.
Jesus Christ forbid, right?
Jesus Christ. Do use a joyful and hopeful tone of voice. God, I can't talk anymore. A joyful and hopeful tone of voice. So this is Fundy Baby voice, for those of you that aren't familiar. This is Fundy Baby voice. This is like ex-Mormons and Mormons will label it primary
voice.
Primary voice. It's very, we're talking today about
Sing-songy.
how you're feeling.
Like you would talk to a child.
Are you doing okay? Like, it's grating. It's grating. Lots of fundies do this. This isn't a uniquely Mormon thing, but Mormon women in the church have this down. Listen to any woman in any general conference and holy shit, it's an art. Like, they have perfected it. It's wild. So you couldn't be like talking like me and doing, I mean, obviously, because I'm swearing and saying Jesus Christ inappropriately, but like you couldn't, like you have to be doing your little feminine sing-songy voice for the ad. Do include a voiceover or talk directly to the camera. Pull a Nara Smith, if you will. Talk directly to the camera. Do a voiceover. Bake some cookies
Mormon
while you're
ASMR.
doing it. You know?
Get ready with me while I go to attend the Mormon church meetings. Oh, cut that.
The Jesus Christ of Latter-day... I can't even say it anymore. Apparently Nara's not Mormon, so...
She wants y'all to know that.
Had me fooled. Okay, let's look at the don't. Don't exceed 30 seconds. Because all of our brains are rotted and we can't watch anything for longer than that. But also,
you should not be making any additional money off of this that doesn't come from us.
fair. Don't use inappropriate language. Read the room. Don't mention alcohol or drugs.
Not even to say that you shouldn't do them? Man.
Where is this even
I feel like
coming
everybody
up?
should be forewarned about that. We don't want people to get swindled
Where is this
into
even
having to give
coming
that
up?
shit up.
Like, why do we think we...
I
Again,
don't know.
never in my life has a brand ever said, don't mention drugs or alcohol.
This is just common sense.
This is just common. Like, you think the Mormons are gonna, like, be talking about the Book of Mormon while they're, like, rolling the joint, or, like, she's got the glass of wine and she's, like, maybe it would be more enticing if that's what was happening. You might want to consider that as an option, because that might pull some new people your way. But, like, do we really think that's what's gonna happen? I would watch that ad,
no
though.
way.
I would watch that ad, though. Like, can we get,
They
like,
need to
some Book of Mormon rolling papers or
They
something?
need to hire the people who do the advertising for Liquid Death.
Yes. Highly effective.
Pithy, interesting, edgy.
Poignant.
That's what
We
they
love
need.
it.
That will be the more effective thing,
Don't mention any other churches or brands.
obviously.
Not to be mistaken with the Catholics.
Let's be clear. They do not want you to just go to any church. You need to be coming to their church.
This is the one that really does it for me. Okay. Don't mention the words Mormon, LDS, or Latter-day Saints. And in my
Are we
mind,
understanding the messaging here?
it doesn't get any more deceptive than that, in my opinion. You are clearly sending a message that you don't want this to be associated with the Mormonism, but you're advertising Mormonism. It doesn't get more fucked than that. Tell me how that's not false advertising.
Right.
And they'll say, well, obviously all these things are consistent with Mormonism, and because of that, like, people put two and two together. And, like, yeah, this is the dumbest part about all of this, is somebody's going to click on the link and they're going to see Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.org, and they're going to go, oh, this is the Mormons, and they're going to fucking close the tab.
Well, they won't see that because it's Church of Jesus Christ.
It's Church of Jesus Christ,
so
right.
It's consistent there.
But I'm sure, I mean, I could look, but generally speaking, a lot of the time, the church has the Book of Mormon on their website, or the missionaries on their website. So you might get people to click, but you're paying for people to close out once they immediately figure out that it's the Mormons.
Most of those people are seeing the little TikTok. How did you receive this?
Hello? Like, do we really think this is going to work? Like, it's like they're trying to, like, Trojan horse people in.
That's
But, like,
exactly what they're
The
doing.
Mormons, like the missionaries with their name tags and their white shirts, are the ones that are pushing it in. And the people inside are like, hey, wait a minute. Where
That's
are you
not what
taking
I
me?
thought was
Why are the
happening.
Mormons down there? Like, people are going to figure it out. That's why, to me, this is just like such a grand waste of money. Do they really think that they're going to pull people with something like this?
I would say this is just a tax write-off, but they don't pay taxes
Yeah,
already.
that's the other fucking nasty shit about this, is like they're literally paying digital marketing agencies, and they're not paying taxes on any of this. If you're using a marketing agency, a global marketing agency, and paying millions of dollars for marketing campaigns, as I presume they are, if your marketing budget is in the millions as a
Right.
church, you should be paying taxes. Period.
What goes far beyond that before we
That's
get
just
to
one example.
the
but-
spending of social media marketing. But
Don't wear clothes with visible logos, and don't include watermarks. Like, those are fairly common.
that
in
way
terms
they
of
can
briefs, but
use your video as they see fit
exactly.
because they own it.
That's the other thing, is I'd be curious what the contract looks like for this. Like a lot of times when like you get the creative brief and then they send you a contract for terms, which she would not have gotten most likely in this situation. But I would be damn curious to see what the contract looked like, because
Right.
are they a little icky in the content? Because lots of people will like say that they'll put some weird shit in the contract that they're entitled to take your content and that content belongs to them and they can use it however they see fit in
Right.
whatever context they want. They can alter it. They can make you say something that you didn't say. Like they get to do whatever they want with that content. And which is also dangerous and kind of annoying because like, what if you leave the church? Like I remember Chelsea Homer, who's a fairly popular ex-Mormon, like very vocal, has done a lot of incredible things since leaving the church. She's very vocal about not being a part of it anymore. And for a while, they were still using her family in church marketing materials. Like years after she had left
There's
the
nothing-
church.
And the church has stellar legal representation.
Yes.
They have their law
ducks in a row.
firm that's right across the street from church headquarters, Curtin and McConkie. They deal with all kinds of shit. So I'm sure they have an ironclad contract set up. So if you ever went, wait, don't even bother because everything is buttoned up
No doubt.
and very nicely.
So they're not
set
doing
in a row.
anything like deceptive in terms of breaking the law. I'm not implying that at all, but like you can do sketchy shit still within the confines of the law, right? So like I'd be very curious what that contract says, or even if they have stipulations for what your content looks like after you post that. Like if we're going to use your material and post you like on our marketing, on our social media pages, for example, like I wouldn't be surprised if they threw in there like, you can't post anything that's inappropriate on your channel because what if this directs people to your content and
Right.
then you leave the church? So they pigeonhole you, and I don't think they could actually maybe legally do that, but I think that's an interesting discussion is like,
Yeah, I'd
what
be
are
interested.
the limitations they put on you in this position? So that is the creative brief. And I feel fairly vindicated. I knew for a long
Right.
time that this was probably going on behind the scenes. I mean, how many times have we talked about this? But it is very vindicating to be able, like, because I saw some Mormons in the comments of this video who was like, I'm Mormon and I had no idea that the church did things like this. And it's like, yeah, it's
There's
a little
probably
fucking
a lot
unsettling.
more that you don't know.
Exactly. Like, this is the tip of the fucking iceberg. I mean, like, let's not waterboard
Right.
you with horrifying information, but like,
It's also notable to see, and maybe this would be something that's stipulated in the contract,
I'm not trying to get sued here. They could have
Right.
put it somewhere else.
but in most creative briefs that we receive, like Aura, today's sponsor, they won't even approve the video if you don't upload it with it marked as a
Paid
sponsored
promotion.
video. So it's very important to a lot of brands that you comply by that FTC
It's an FTC guideline.
guideline.
You have to disclose
Then
that
you-
it's an ad.
Right, and you could get in trouble if you don't, and sometimes the companies
Sometimes they're sketchy.
we'll handle it or whatever, but that's not honest to your audience either, and everybody should be doing that for obvious reasons, that because you should be building trust with your audience.
We won't work with companies who say don't put it in there.
Yeah, if that's going to be a breaking point,
It's icky.
sorry, we will see ourselves out.
But on this, like, on an obvious note, and you guys can sound off if you experience the same thing, but like generally speaking, when I'm scrolling and I see content that has hashtag ad in it,
right,
I'm fucking scrolling. Like,
Obviously
you can't
here-
catch me. I'm done.
yeah, here on YouTube, you know that it's just going to be a little bit of ad. We're not going to do a hour-long ad for the whole
Sure.
runtime of the video.
Well,
or
and you get
whatever.
alerted at the beginning of the video
Yeah.
that there's a paid promotion.
So, but on TikTok, I'm
Don't show
Bye.
me that shit. It gives inauthentic, right? Like I understand why they, and who knows, again, they could have included this somewhere else. I don't have all the information, but it's not in the brief, and usually they at least put it in there. It could be in the contract. They could stipulate it in the contract. But I hope for the people that are doing these videos that they're putting ad on here, because it's a false, I mean, like, it's a testimonial and the person might still believe these things, but in my mind, it's still kind of a false testimonial because it's not,
right. It's not authentic.
contrived.
It's paid advertising.
It's paid advertising, and it's no different than the people that you see in the like medication commercials or like weight loss commercials. And this is like no shade to anybody who does any of that, but it's like when you see the actors giving their testimonial in the commercial, you're not
Right.
like, oh, that's a real person who's talking about their experience. Like, No, come on. So, like, again, that's not going to be something that they're probably going to want on there because it's going to discredit like the information. People are going to scroll. But I'm very curious. A lot of you are really good with the internet and finding things. Like lots of you have helped us out with things before in the past. If you see any content that feels like this, that
Send
feels
it to
like
us.
it matches like those 3 creative video ideas, or if it matches that structure at all, like send it. Because I went to a few big influencers that we've kind of profiled before to see if any of them had posted anything like this, and I'm not seeing anything right now. So I'm very interested to see who they're targeting for this campaign, or if they're going to shut this whole thing down because of this incident. But if you see anything like this, I want you to send it to me, because I would love to see if they're telling them to disclaim it as an ad, or if they're even telling them, like, put a link in your bio to the church, or, you know, here's like a lead page for put your email in and we'll
Right.
send the missionaries to you, or like we'll send you a free Book of Mormon. Like, what's the call to action beyond them
would like
telling
to
them
see.
that?
Obviously, it wasn't just that they weren't offering enough money to Alitza. Like, she's not a Mormon.
This doesn't vibe with her anymore.
It's not going to be her vibe. They were lowballing her. She said
Which
it was
certainly doesn't
around
help.
like $1,000 per video, which for me is a lot of money, but not enough to lie about Mormonism and everything like that.
No.
So maybe those creators just didn't have their financial needs met in order to go out there and do something so ham-fistedly in support of the Mormon church or anything. But yeah, keep your eyes out there. And to Alitza, if you watch this, if you make it this far, I appreciate that you took a little break from your regular content and posted about this, because I think people should know about this, because this is, for one, deceptive.
Mm-hmm.
It's misrepresentation of the Mormon church and the,
In our opinion,
high demand nature of the Mormon church. And even the Christians are going to find this offensive, because it's trying to obfuscate who they like, what the Mormon gospel truly is, in order to glom onto the Christian identity. And unfortunately, I lump them in with all of Christianity because it's just easier that way. But I know a lot of Christians that are, you know, that's offensive idea to them. So I completely understand that.
Nobody wants the Mormons. They're like the weird kid. But
And
the
it's
weird
not their
kid
fault.
that's not charming or cute.
It's Mormonism ideology's fault, but you
Yeah.
know, I digress.
So anyway, it's nice to be vindicated.
I know.
It's nice to be right. We're not always right, but it is nice when it happens, and when you have a gut instinct around things.
A lot of times all it takes is just some time.
And I hope that maybe this is a trend of more people speaking out about the church, reaching out to them about like marketing or advertising content. I would love to see more of this. I would love to see other campaigns or other people that they've reached out to or targeted. Like, I would love all that information. So I hope this snowballs into something more substantial.
For sure.
Like, that's my hope here, but I'm just thrilled that a talking point that we've had since 2021 now has some like fundamental solid evidence to it, and not just like a theory.
So anyway, we'll wrap this one up with a nice little bow. Again, thank you to
Jesus Christ bow.
Alitza. A Jesus Christ bow. Thank you to Alitza for sharing this information, and go check out her stuff.
She has cute planners.
She should still benefit.
She should.
She should still benefit.
Damn
if
right.
you are a planner person, go and check them out. I saw them. Planners, stickers, they're all cute. So go and check those out. Maybe I'll put it in the I'll put it in the description.
We'll put a
so
link down there.
Everybody can.
I'll put a link to her original video in there too.
Go watch it and leave a comment or something. Go check out the comments and stuff. But if you want to see more of us, you can hit the subscribe button down below. We've got all kinds of content talking about this shit and other shit and, you know, the shitty shit. I don't know what else to say on that.
You've been talking for too long.
I know. It's late. I've been in the sun a lot today. So. If you'd like to support the channel, you can also become a member or a patron. Patreon link is in the description. Member button is right next to the subscribe button. You get perks. You get access to watch parties. Jordan just did a therapy corner. This time it was live streamed because she didn't really have time to prep everything. But
I'll probably just do live streams.
we'll
in the future.
yeah.
But you
can
can
join the
watch
live
it
streams.
even if you can't make it at
Yeah.
that time.
We'll
So.
do it. You can access the VOD at any time. And you can ask questions about Jordan because she is a licensed certified social worker who works as a therapist.
Licensed clinical social worker.
Licensed
I used
clinical.
to be a certified.
Yeah. Sorry, my vernacular is still updating. But yeah, she's a professional. She doesn't do this all the time. That's her day job. So you get access to that.
I'm tired.
Also, you can follow us on social media. Maybe we'll start posting on TikTok more. I think we might be needed. I don't know. Let us know. But we're pretty active on Instagram. You can get more up-to-the-minute updates about when we're uploading and shit posts.
And the cats.
The cat and everything like that. You can follow us at Jordan McKay on both of those platforms. And finally, if you are interested in doing watch parties in the coming week, I think, or maybe the week after that, we're going to be watching the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives Season 2 reunion, or mid-season reunion, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
So if you'd like to join us, it's over on the Discord. There's so much more, not just about us on the Discord. You can go over there, check it out. Link is down in the description down below. But finally, we appreciate everybody who stuck around to the end. We love you. You're awesome. Don't take money from the Mormon Church to lie for them. Make them lie for themselves. And we will see you next time.